it's Kari back again with you from sunshineinmypocket.com. Today I have some really awesome dies and papers to share with you from Whimsy Stamps. This is the brand new Nightmare die from Whimsy Stamps. Look at how cute that is. It's got these really great designs to put some little monsters on or anything you actually want. And then this here is the Roaming Monsters die. It's got 3 different little images that you can die cut out: a witch, a Grim Reaper, and a zombie or a mummy. And then this is a brand new paper pad called Slimline Nightmares. Look at these gorgeous, gorgeous designs. I was so super impressed. There's some really, look at that spooky. And then this one, there's some smoke coming up from this one. Lots of really neat designs in this. And then I also wanted to show you another one that's my absolute favorite. I just recently got this. It's the Haunted Graveyards paper pack, and this one's 6x6 this time. Look at these beautiful, gorgeous papers. Amazing. If you want an amazing, magnificent background and a card that's very quick to make, you can take any of these papers and create a card. Just add your images or your die cuts. I'm going to be making 3 cards today, and I'm going to be using this paper here from the 6x6 paper pack, also a paper from that Slimline Nightmares pack that I showed you before, and we're going to put together 3 cards, all of them using that Slimline die. But they're not all going to be Slimline cards. I'm going to show you how to use this die, create a Slimline card, a mini Slimline card, and an A2 size card. So there's so much you can do with this. Lots of fun to be had. So what I've done is I've already cut out these little monsters here. I die cut 1 out of black and 2 out of white so I can build them up. Then I also die cut this Nightmares die just to see what it looks like. And you can see how cool it looks with a little bit of white peeking out from the background. So this is kind of like the idea I have for the first card, using that paper in the background, the die, and one of these monsters. But look what it cuts out of the center. A really cool design you could use as a stencil, or you could build it up and use it as another idea with a different orientation. And that's what I'm going to do today. So let's just go ahead and glue these together. All I'm going to do is take some liquid adhesive and stack these up. I'll just get all of those done very quickly here so we can put these cards together. Look how cool that looks with that moon in the background. Then I'm going to go ahead and glue together this Nightmare die with the white in the background. Now this is offset just a little bit, so I am going to have to trim some of that white off the right hand side there. I'll just use my trimmer to do that very quickly. Then I'm going to cut this down to be a slimline size card. It's going to be 4 inches by 8.5, I believe. So I'll trim that down just like so. And then we're going to get this kind of put together. I'll glue that to the background just here, just like this. And it's a little bit offset because I wanted that moon to be right in the center for the Grim Reaper to sit on. Then I'm going to go ahead and put these together too and choose my background for this one. Now I really was looking for a moon that the witch could be flying in front of. So as I look through these papers, I found this one here that I think I'm going to use for my 3rd card. And that's going to be really cute with that purpley background, but look at that moon. Yeah, that one's going to work really great with the witch. So these are the papers that I've chosen, and I'm going to go ahead and glue that Nightmare die inside piece together. So I have a little bit of white peeking out again from this die. I really do think it adds just a dramatic look. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut down my papers. For this one with the moon, I'm trying to decide what size I'm going to make this one, and I end up cutting this down to be A2 size. So it's 4 1/4 by 5.5. And that's going to be for that one, just like that. Now I'm looking for that little mummy zombie. He wandered off somewhere. Do you see him? If you look to the top of the screen, you'll see him kind of by the Grim Reaper, but I could not find him. Finally, there we go. I found him. He's going to go about right there. Now that little cliff that he is walking on, I'm just using a portion of it for this card, so that way I will have some left over for my third card. So I'm trying to just kind of place these where I think is going to go. And this is kind of my card making process. But I knew that it needed a little something, and so look at this beautiful stencil. This stencil from Whimsy is called Clawed Stencil. And I think that's going to look really great on that background. It was just a little too plain for me with the Grim Reaper. So I'm going to test it out on some black paper. First of all, using some Distress Oxide in Antique Linen, which is very pretty and kind of subtle. And then on the other side, I'm going to test it out with some white pigment ink. And I'm going to see which one I like the best. And turns out the white pigment ink was a little too harsh on that black paper for this background. So I end up going with the Antique Linen Distress Oxide. And the great thing about oxides or pigment inks is that they will show up on black paper. And I just wanted this subtle design to this, so it wasn't so plain. So I'm just going to be moving this around. I picked this particular design right here for this one. I'm just going to move it around and ink all over that Nightmare die. Now, if you do get a little bit on this paper, it's okay because it's glossy paper and that ink just wiped right off. So no worries there, but you know, normally I would do this ahead of time before I attached it to my paper. But you know, sometimes this is how card making goes. I think it looks really cool with that stencil on the background. It does add quite a bit. I also did cut out those skulls right up there. You'll see from one of my Whimsy die sets. I cut it out of like a coppery foiled paper, and that's going to be one of the decorations for this card. Another thing that I wanted to mention on this card, I went ahead and heat embossed a sentiment right in the center beneath the Grim Reaper. I am not going to show that on camera, but I will show you at the end. Now I can't stay away from this Harlequin stencil. It's quickly becoming one of my favorites, so I used the Antique Linen on that extra die cut piece there with that Harlequin, and I just stretched it out by lining up those diamonds on the right side and continuing to ink that up. So there's our design for that one. And now it's time to put all these cards together. I'm going to start with the Slimline card, so I'll just go ahead and attach that to the card base. I've taped that card base closed so that it was easier for me to add this without popping up. For the Slimline card base, I just cut a piece of cardstock to 8 by 8.5. So I just had to trim it down to 8 and then score it at 4 inches, and it created the card base for me. I did have to trim a little off the edges just to make it completely fit. And that's okay. Sometimes you do have to do a little card surgery. Here's those skulls that I cut out of that copper foiled paper. And that's where I'm going to heat emboss my sentiment. For this card, I did cut that apart. So now I have 2 pieces of that Nightmare die insert piece. And this one I'm going to pop up on some black cardstock and then frame it all out with the white card base. Just glue that down very simply. I love the way that witch looks against the moon. So very cool. I love having little small die cuts like these. They're perfect for decorating cards just like this. And that's going to finish off this card for now. For my last card, I'm going to use this stacked pumpkin image from this Boo Ghosts stamp set. And I'll also use a sentiment from that stamp set as well. I'm going to color up these pumpkins using a new combination of oranges so that they look a little bit darker. I'm starting out with the E33, and then I'm going to bring in a YR14 to blend that out. And you're going to see that this will create more of a darker pumpkin look than a bright orange pumpkin look, which I really kind of like for the look I was going for on this card. It's nice to have a different color combination. I've already colored in the eyes and mouths with some yellow. And so that part is done. And now I'll bring in the YR12 or YR12 and blend all that through. Now, as you see, it's blending all very nicely together, but I really want a more dramatic look. So I'm actually going to go back through with the darkest color again and add some more shading and blend all of it through one more time. And you'll see the difference in looks. I think it creates a dramatic difference, and it's worth it to me to take the time to do that. So there we go. I'm just going to fussy cut that out. And then on this, I will heat emboss the Let's Get Spooky. I'm using some Ranger embossing powder for that. And I cut this to be a slimline card size. So it's 3.5 by 6 inches. And it's a really great size for this little image. But look how cute this background paper looks with the bats on there and the clouds. And then adding that Harlequin cliff right there. I think it looks really, really cool. And it's a really fun element. I'm going to glue that down with liquid adhesive just like so. And then I'll just glue down those pumpkins, the stacked pumpkins, and you'll see the bats flying out from behind them. Just a really fun look and so super simple to put together. It's really nice when you can get 3 cards out of one crafting session. So I think this turned out really great. There's that card right there. There's the one with the witch and the zombie or the mummy. And then we have our Grim Reaper. It says RIP in the center there with a skull, which I heat embossed that using that same Ranger embossing powder. It's not really gold. It's not really silver. It's kind of somewhere in the middle there. So it's a really great color for this look. I hope you enjoyed these cards today. I had a great time creating them. I'm really loving these new dies from Whimsy Stamps. If you want to take a look, I'll have them listed and linked below in the description of this video and also on my blog. Thanks so much for stopping by. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll be back with more cards soon. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.